Hi, welcome to the Vergas Show. I'm Sherry Hansen. Thanks for joining me today. I'm at St. John's Lutheran Church in Vergas, and this church is getting geared up to celebrate 100 years. It's just been a lot of fun. I've been helping a little bit with the planning, but there's been some planning people that have been doing all the legwork and to get a very special weekend ready for you to come and enjoy and celebrate with them. May 16th and 17th is the date. You're going to want to mark that on your calendar if you haven't already. And I've got with me some few important people here. It's been really interesting to look at the charter members of our congregation and to look at those names and see how so many of them still have descendants right in the area here. And I've got three of those people here right now, and Sandy Antonsen, Pete Faincannell, and Donnie Binkowski. And I'm just briefly going to talk to Sandy and Pete because we're going to hear from them next week. But if you want to tell me who you're a descendant of, and then I'm going to visit a little bit with you, Donnie, about you have that honor of being one of the older members of our congregation, and so you've got all this wisdom to share with us and all these memories maybe. So Sandy, I'll start with you.
Okay, my grandpa, William Beeler, was a charter member of this congregation.
My grandfather was Henry Hinsey, and he also was a charter member and was a farmer and a butcher, and came to Vergas when he burned out. So that's how he started.
Landed here. And Donnie, who is your descendant?
My descendant was Grandpa's Herman Sonnenberg. He was my grandpa.
Okay, and so, you know, when I've been looking at the history and stuff, I see Herman's name in there a lot. And the thing that I remember too, Donnie, is growing up in this congregation, I remember your name in there a lot. You held many board positions. You've been very active in our church. And so you must have some memories, but do you remember actually being part of the parochial school? That's where it all started.
I am really not the one to talk about the parochial school.
Okay.
Because school was not my favorite place to be.
Well, that's okay.
But I did go there for 2 years.
You did go there.
I went there for 2 years to get confirmed. And there was about, I would say, 15 to 20 children there at the time. And the pastor was the minister. The pastor was the teacher. He was a real Burdorf, his name was. And our recreation, our biggest recreation for recess time was playing ball.
You know, that's still that way. When the kids come to Vacation Bible School, they still love to play ball.
Yeah.
And so that hasn't changed.
And the school had 2 rows of seats in it, and they were 2 children sat in each seat, and they were large. So
now that parochial school, where did that end up at?
Well, somebody said it's out to Bennett's.
Okay, and so that ended up there. And so that brings the parochial school bell, which Pastor, maybe you want to just talk for 1 minute about how we got our parochial school bell here. We do have that on display for everyone.
Yeah,
so,
well, the Arnold and Mary Bennett bought the
school building.
When
okay.
the school building, when they no longer needed it, and I guess Arnie and Mary got it.
And the bell was part of that.
And the bell was part of that.
All right. And so you talked to them and got that here now.
Yeah, and then when they told me that they had the bell, I said, well, we need to have that
we need to have that for our 100th celebration.
And they were fine with this.
That's wonderful. Well, okay, now Donnie, so we talked about the parochial school, and so tell me a little bit, what have you seen? If you started with the parochial school, and of course there was a parsonage and there was a church and then church addition, tell me some of the changes that you remember seeing.
Well, there was the first thing we did, the addition onto the church was a great help to the church. We had, and the change of the look of our church is when our church was different than other churches with the bell tower. It was a square, straight up, a flat top on top of the bell tower. So they had troubles with it leaking, so they took the roof off, took the top off and put a peaked roof on it with a cross on top. And a lot of people didn't really like it, but at least it saved it quit leaking. Yeah. And then the addition, the entryway, that was a big addition, and it really helped the church. So,
Now, the stained glass window that's been resurrected that was at the front of the church, you remember that
That was-
and how
yeah,
that was?
yep.
And then there's a big talk about the cornerstone. And
that I don't, they say there's something in there and all, and I do not know anything about that.
Okay, but you know the cornerstone's there.
Yeah, the other day Tom said we're going to dig out that cornerstone. I had no idea what he was talking about, so.
So Donnie, as you see a new organ and a new elevator and all these fun things, you know, happening and improvements being done to our congregation's church building, how does that make you feel as a member?
Talk about an elevator. Years ago, I don't know, Sandy, Pete here knows how we went down the basement, down that little stairway, and the ladies had their big chicken dinner down there, and everybody had to go down that little stairway. The elevator would have been nice then.
Yes, it would have been nice, and so it's going to be very nice to have that for our centennial celebration.
And another thing that we used to do, we used to have to kneel in our pews before communion.
Okay,
And this church really never had pews
with the kneeling bench.
with the kneeling, and it was rather awkward.
Yeah.
So that was a big improvement.
Okay, and so we, you know, we're just really excited about having that celebration on Sunday, May 17th. Pastor, why is it so important for a church to be celebrating 100 years?
Okay, well, that seems like an obvious question.
It
to me,
does,
but
yeah.
It's 100 years. You know, it's a centennial. This congregation formed in 1915, and now it's 2015. So we're celebrating the formation of the congregation.
Okay.
1915. This sanctuary was built in 1921, but the congregation's been here for 100 years. And actually, you know, if we go back out to Loon Lake, which a lot of the former the members that started this church were
from that. And you know, Pastor, unfortunately, we're out of time today, but we just want to invite everybody on May 17th. And thank you, Pastor Hinckley, and thank you for joining me today. And we'll see you there, and you have a good day in Vergas.